Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing on with the story Better Than Fiction that is written by me, Beauty and the Bookshelf. We are doing the last piece today. We're going to be doing chapters 7, 8, and 9. Chapter 7, Please Come Back. Kirishima point of view. The door to the shop slammed and snapped Kirishima back to his senses. You know me better than anyone else. You just didn't realize how well. The words finally click. Kirishima buried his face in his hands. You were worried he wasn't available or wasn't interested. Now it might not matter because I blew it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. He smacked his forehead with every word, frustration sharp and raw. He dropped his hands to the counter, breath shallow. If you come back, he said softly like it mattered, like someone could hear. I'd listen this time. I promise I'd listen. His voice broke on the last word, barely more than a whisper, as he stared at the door Bakugo had disappeared through. Please come back. Chapter 8. In the margins. Bakugo POV. 1 year later. A year was a long time to stay silent. Long enough to write another novel. Long enough to wonder every damn day if it would even matter. He hadn't gone back to the shop. He couldn't. Not after the way he left. Not after the way Kirishima looked at him, like the ground had dropped out from under them both. So he did the only thing he knew how to do. He wrote. The new novel wasn't supposed to be about Kirishima. Not at first. But the words crept in anyway. Loud laughter, bright eyes, the way he talked about books like they were sacred. It didn't matter how many times Bakugo tried to pull the story in a different direction, it always came back to him. And the other character, the guarded one with too much in his head and not enough in his mouth, that one was easy. He changed the names, tweaked the timeline. It gave them a different setting. But the truth bled through every chapter, every almost touch, every almost confession. It wasn't fiction. It was a confession. He never expected Kirishima to read it. Not really, not after what happened, but he could hope. But when the publisher asked if he wanted to send any signed copies to local shops, he gave one name. Just one. He kept the dedication simple. For the one who saw me, even when I didn't let him. I wasn't brave enough then. This is me trying now. Bakugo figured he might never hear from him. Maybe Kirishima had moved on. Maybe he'd open the box, see the name Katsuya Arata staring back at him, and close it right back up. Maybe he'd sit there for a minute, hands frozen, heart pounding, knowing exactly what it meant, but still not be ready to face it. Maybe he'd read the first page and stop. But maybe, just maybe, he'd read all the way to the end. And if he did, if he saw the final line on that last page, echoing the words Bakugo shouted before storming out a year ago, he'd know it wasn't just a story. It was a bridge. It was all the things Bakugo couldn't say back then. And maybe now, it could be enough. Kirishima point of view. He didn't notice the box at first. There were always new shipments, always something to shelve, something to price, something to organize. But when his eyes skimmed over the label and landed on the name Katsuya Arata, his hands froze mid-motion. His stomach flipped, his fingers trembled just slightly as he reached for the box cutter. It couldn't be. It had been a year. He sliced the tape, pulled back the flaps, and there it was. The cover was different, but the signature was the same. Bold, familiar, personal. A signed copy sat on the top of the stack, and it hit him like a punch to the chest. To the one who saw me, even when he didn't know it was me. K.A. Kirishima pressed a hand over his mouth. He couldn't read it in the shop. He couldn't. Not with his heart already slamming around like it wanted to escape his ribs. Not with customers coming in and the risk that someone might see him fall apart in the middle. He waited. The second he got home, he sat on the floor, back against the couch, unopened takeout growing cold on the table behind him. And he read, page after page, chapter after chapter. And there they were. A character who smiled too wide when he was nervous, who asked questions and genuinely listened to answers, who loved loudly and too openly and never apologized for it. And then the other one, rough-edged, careful with his words, heart buried beneath sarcasm and silence. It was them. Every memory, every almost touched, every missed chance, but rewritten like a wish. By the end, tears blurred the words on the page. When he read the last line, he had to set the book down. He wiped his face and read it again, his breath catching. You know me better than anyone else. You just didn't realize how well. The same thing Bakugo had shouted before storming out, but this time softer, sadder, and maybe full of hope. Kirishima closed the book and held it against his chest. He still cares, he whispered. He still cares. He didn't know if Bakugo would come, didn't know if this was a goodbye or a beginning. But the book had been left like a door cracked open, and Kirishima wasn't going to let it shut. Chapter 9. Afterward. Kirishima point of view. Every time the door opened, Kirishima looked up. He told himself he wasn't waiting, that it was just a habit, a reflex. But hope doesn't ask permission. It lingers and it stays. He read Bakugo's words over and over, pages dog-eared, the ending underlined like it might change if he looked at it hard enough. Every page felt like a memory, his laughter, Bakugo's silence, everything they never said written down at last. It wasn't just a story, it was an apology, a confession, a promise maybe. That thought stayed with him, soft and stubborn, curling into the quiet places of his heart and refusing to leave. So, when the bell above the door chimed late in the afternoon, sunlight slanting gold through the windows, Kirishima didn't look up right away. He was scared to hope, scared to be wrong, but also scared to be right. Still, instinct kicked in. Hey, welcome in, I'll be right with you, he called automatically, voice bright but distracted as he adjusted a stack of new releases near the register. Then silence, the kind that doesn't feel empty, the kind that hums. Something tugged at the edge of his awareness, familiar and sharp. He turned slowly. Bakugo stood just inside the door, wearing that same uncertain expression, like everything was caught in his throat, trying to come out all at once. Kirishima dropped the stack of books, didn't care when they hit the floor with a thud. He didn't care about the customers or the mess or the fact that his heart slammed against his ribs like it wanted to break free. He moved fast, like something inside him snapped loose. Bakugo didn't flinch, didn't move away or brace like he used to. He caught Kirishima as he launched forward, arms wrapping around him like muscle memory, like it was the most natural thing in the world. His face pressed into Kirishima's shoulder, breath sharp and uneven. Kirishima held him like he meant it, like he'd never let go. You came back, he whispered. Bakugo's voice was quiet and rough. You read it? I read it, Kirishima said, pulling back just enough to look at him. Every word, every goddamn word. Bakugo's eyes flicked over his face, like he wasn't sure it was real yet. I didn't know if you'd want to see me. I didn't know if you'd come back, Kirishima admitted, his voice breaking on the words. But I hoped. Bakugo nodded slowly, tension bleeding out of his shoulders in waves. I meant all of it. Kirishima smiled, tears gathering at the corner of his eyes. I know. When their lips finally met, Bakugo didn't hesitate. It was gentle and slow, like they were both making up for all the missed chances, all the words left unsaid. Kirishima's hands found their way to Bakugo's face, fingers tracing the curve of his jaw, grounding them both. For the first time in a long time, everything felt possible. Hope wasn't just a fragile idea anymore. It was a quiet, steady flame burning between them. At last, neither of them felt alone. Whatever came next, they'd face it together. All right, friends, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this one. This one was a little bit more angsty, I guess, than I had originally intended on writing. And honestly, that miscommunication in there, it's one of those things I always complain about it in books and then ended up writing it in there, which is why I didn't keep the miscommunication going for too long. And, you know, him, Kirishima specifically worrying so much about all those things and then like snapping to his senses, like, oh my gosh, it could have been so much worse. But anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. As usual, the link for the original fic will be in the descriptions. If you really enjoyed it, please feel free to go over there and leave comments or kudos on the original. And please feel free to leave likes and comments here as well. I read all of the comments and respond to all of them. And help me get out there. And you can subscribe to the channel if you liked it and you'd like to come back for more. All right. All of that being said, I hope you'll come back for the next fic when I post one. All right. I'll see you guys next time.